This is Tim from Contentstack, and in this video I want to talk about an NPM package that I created on my personal NPM account that will help Contentstack developers a bunch. So let's talk about why I actually did that. Let's talk about what my package actually is, and I'm showing you this login screen to illustrate why I had to make it. And so essentially Contentstack is super flexible for the big businesses that we work for. And so these businesses might have a contract with Microsoft Azure. For them, it would then be quite challenging to have all their content and all their data on AWS if we were to host there as Contentstack. So Contentstack is flexible. We provide SaaS services at all these clouds. Developers need to take into account, where does my data live? Am I on AWS EU or is it maybe Azure EU? And so because of this, I created my package. And of course, you don't need that NPM package to figure it out. You can just go to the docs and say, hey, I need image delivery specifically for North America AWS. Or I have my GraphQL endpoint or my BrandKit endpoint. You'll find those here. And so, of course, you can make your own environment variables and, fill those out. But we do see sometimes that this is quite challenging for people. And so not that you're not a smart developer, but it's yet another thing to think about, right? And so that's why I created this NPM package, which literally just says, give me your region and I'll just give you an object with all the URLs that you need. So the only thing you need to remember is I need the asset delivery URL. And then you just have a word asset delivery or something like assets or GraphQL or GraphQL preview. And it just gives you the URL without you having to think. So if we change URLs, your software still works. And so let me just show you that in action. So this is just one of our starter kits here. And so as you can see, my region is EU. I just did a little console log. And the object that I got back from my NPM package is all this. Right, so my preview URL for Visual Builder is EU rest preview.contentstack.com, but my image delivery is EU images, stuff like that, right? So I now don't have to think about what these URLs are. I just need to know what these keys are. So when we go to the code, so I have two options here. So our Contentstack delivery SDK actually has a region enum, which is like a TypeScript enum. And so that region becomes that. And let's see, I can show you that here. That's what that looks like. So it kind of wants that enum, the region enum. So, but most of the time you will not have that enum, but you'll just have a little string, right? And so in my environment variables here, my string is literally just this, EU. So I made one function to just get that specific region enum just for that string. And then I can just get my endpoints based on that enum. And there's also one where I can omit the HTTP because sometimes in our SDK, we add the URLs without the HTTPS on it because the SDK does it by itself. But you can also just not do that and get the URLs with HTTP. And so now when I'm in EU, this is what's coming out, right? So let's now go to Azure North America. Now, of course, my app doesn't work anymore because it's trying to query a different cloud. But you can see here that Azure North America actually now has totally different URLs here. And I didn't have to think about those URLs. It just kind of works. And so this is just a really nice and simple little script that will make you think a little bit less. And so right now, this is actually not a core package in Contentstack, but it might be in the future. But we might also come up with a different approach to this. So I didn't want to put it as a core, but you can still, grab this, use it in your code and ask me for support if that's needed. All right, so if you use this, feel free to tell me about it. Feel free to say, hey, these docs aren't correct. Join our Discord, where's the link in the description of this video to, chat about it. Anyways, happy coding and see you soon. Cheers.